What is going on is Tuesday afternoon. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Yes, it is Tuesday, the 18th. And hopefully you guys had a great start of your week. Everybody's working and doing their thing. If you're not working, you're pushing to make something happen either way. Hopefully everything's going good. I want to shout out to everybody who joined the live last night. The live was really good. We had a very good live, good discussion about collecting games and everything under the umbrella. It was absolutely awesome. And definitely plan on doing more of that, maybe on a daily or every other day basis. So be tuned, subscribe to the channel for that stuff. And that content is going to continue to keep rolling. All right, this is something that was on my mind this morning. I want to talk about this as well, as far as gaming and development and the love of creating and developing games that could be, let's say, timeless or memorable, and something that is made out of the passion of creating. Because a lot of games out now, I'm not gonna say a lot, there are some games out there that's doing it that don't get the recognition, and I think that's the main thing. They don't get the recognition that games are actually being pushed out there for people to enjoy and have memorable moments and have those great situations where you're immersed in a game that you can remember for a long time going down the road. I think the majority of games are made like this, and the ones that are made like this don't really get the recognition. They kind of swept under the rug, and all this mainstream media or mainstream gaming is basically put in the forefront, where you see all the Assassin's Creed of the world, or you see the Call of Duties or the Maddens and the NBA 2Ks, all the big AAA games, where it's apparent for the past couple of years that indie and AA games are basically where it's at. You can find a lot of hidden gems. A lot of people like to use that term now, but you can find a lot of good games just by searching a little bit. And I think a lot of content creators do a really good job of pushing some games that you may not have ever heard about, and those games are absolutely amazing to play. Can I name some off the top of my head? Yeah, maybe so, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole and just start naming, hey, you should play this game, you should play that game, you should do this. I don't want to really get into that discussion of finding those type of games to play. But there are some really good games that are out there that you can find and play. You know what? I would name one if you haven't played it already. I talked about it yesterday on my live stream. Remnant from the Ashes 1 and 2. But if you haven't played those games are very solid, and you can have fun with them to this day, online or offline, and you feel like you get a full experience that's actually immersive. And it has a fairly good story that, well, I know the first one definitely has a pretty good story that you could follow, and it will become memorable sometime down the line. And like I said, I feel at the end of the day, these are the things that we need to have to the forefront. You have a lot of games that are kind of forgettable that we talk about because you see them, a lot of big name YouTubers or big name content creators just talk about them, or they even play the games, and a month later, or maybe even a couple of weeks later, you don't even think about those games anymore. You don't even remember that it was around, unless if it was extremely infamous. But a great game don't necessarily need to be reminded about. We just talk about it like they're just games that are just timeless. I think the PS4 and Xbox One era had tons of those games as well. I mean, you look at a game like The Order 1886, that game was actually really, really good. Nobody really talks about. And I know I said I wasn't going to go down a whole list of games like that, but I can name like a few, like the Tomb Raider games. Those games was actually really good. You can go back and play them at any time. The replay value is high. The story is really good, and you can honestly continuously have a great time. Not to mention, like, this is basically what Nintendo does with their games. Nintendo does that with their games, to where it is every game they put out, they try to make it somewhat memorable, and you can always go back and play to keep high replay value, and the games are just fun. a lot of games nowadays, they're really not that fun. Like, who's going to go back to play, let's say, Star Wars Outlaws? And this is the thing about the Star Wars games. Jedi and Survivor are actually solid games that you can go back and play. They have a pretty good storyline, and the games play pretty well. But that was after the Battlefront 2, Battlefront 2 debacle, where they literally had to try to save face, and they advertised Jedi, what it was, the first one, was Survivor the first one? I can't remember. The first one that they put out, they actually had to put it in there that there was no nefarious monetization in the game. It was a single player experience. So those games are like really good, when you go back and look at those. And it's just a shame where you have games now that just don't really capture, a memorable moment. This is one of the reasons why I do play a lot of racing games now, because the storyline in a racing game is what you make it. Can you come in first place? Can you make it the top 5? Can you go through a season where you're actually doing very well at driving the cars that you put together, as far as tuning and everything? You make the storyline, and this is why Gran Turismo, the dirt games, gravel, any of those games. I don't even think they make any grid games anymore, but the WRC rally games, that's why those games sell so well to this day, because people feel like that they get their own immersion in the game. They're not really good storytellers in other games now, and this way you kind of like lost, like, all right, what are we going to do with with this game, or whatever the case may be, because the story is just not there. It's going to be really interesting to see what Assassin's Creed, Shadows do, because a lot of people are kind of leaning on that game to see, will it crash and burn, or whatever the case may be. And I think it's going to be all right. But I'm not an Assassin's Creed guy, so I could really care less. But when you look at the mainstream, this is the things that people are leaning on, like to be that game to help and save, gaming, or whatever the case may be. The AAA title, not necessarily Assassin's Creed, but the AAA title that's going to do it. People are still hoping and praying that GTA 6 be that game that, restore the hope that we had back in AAA titles. But you can go back and just look at some of these games that were really good, that were considered AAA titles, that are now, basically AA or indie games at best. A lot of people, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but now you have the second part of the Tomb Raider trilogy that just came out. And not the 4, 5, and 6. I think they're 4, 5, and 6 with Angels of Darkness and all that. People are looking into that now to actually revitalize their level of gaming. And that's that's basically what it is now. You got to find these gems that come out on Steam or come out pretty much stealth release on the Xbox or the PlayStation or Nintendo, and find the great game that you will enjoy. So this is why I say, like, the quality and the immersion factor and the memorable factor of games are kind of like dying off, unless if you really have to find it yourself. These big companies aren't in the they're not in the business to make that type of game anymore. Everything's about monetization. So maybe we'll touch on this later. I'll probably do a live stream where I'll put together some games, a list of games that I feel that are in that category, that are really well kept as far as the pass of time, how well these games hold up, or how well these games were developed. I guess that may be a pretty good discussion to have. So maybe we'll do that. Let me know what you guys think. Got a truck coming in and gonna make a little bit of noise, but that's cool. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna get up out of here and we'll just go from there. All right, y'all. See you guys later. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.